Hello, my name is Polly. I'm a creative specialist at Castlewood's Makerspace. I'm delighted to share with you Maker's Moment. Maker's Moment is a series of DIY projects that can be done at home. You are welcome to join me in this video, but if you prefer to do this self-guided, there is a step-by-step document you can access in the link below. Now let's get started. So these are the materials you'll need. I have here some 8.5 by 11 copy paper. Feel free to use sketchbook paper, line paper, or even a combination of papers. You'll also need a 12 by 12 pattern sheet. This is just scrapbooking paper. It's patterned in the front and also in the back. You'll also need a ruler for straight cuts, a bone folder to make your creases. If you don't have a bone folder, that's okay. You can use your fingers on the lighter paper and the end of your scissors for the scrapbooking paper. You'll need some scissors for cutting thread. You'll need an X-Acto knife to cut sheets. If you have a paper cutter, that's even better. Please use it. You'll also need a safety pin. This works great to make holes on the sheets of paper. You'll need some sort of writing utensil. This right here is a bookbinding needle. These needles have a larger eye that is easy to thread and will be used to bind your sheets and cover. If you do not have a large needle like this, you could use an embroidery needle and even a regular needle. Just know that it may take a little longer to bind. You'll also need some waxed thread, but any thread will work just fine. And then finally, you'll need a mat so you can keep your table free from cuts and scratches. It's very handy if you do not own a paper cutter. Okay, so let's clear this up a little bit. We will start by grabbing our copy paper and we're going to fold it in half. Now on the lighter sheets, you could go ahead and start from the center and work your way up and then down to crease. Because this is copy paper, you could go ahead and do 2, 3 at a time and speed up the process a little bit. So next, you will cut these in half. So we're going to grab our ruler, I'm going to grab our X-Acto knife and our mat. Just set the ruler up on the crease, grab your X-Acto knife, and cut. And while we're here, all the cuts that you've made, you can now go ahead and fold those in half. You're going to repeat this process for the rest of your sheets. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and stack them. And we can put these on the side. Now we're going to work on our 12 by 12 scrapbook paper. I like to measure my cover 8.5 by 6. So since half of this is already 6, I'm going to go ahead and fold this in half. I'm going to use my bone folder since it is thicker paper. And then I'm going to cut this in half. And use your mat, just make sure you have enough there so you're not cutting your table. And you can make an extra one if you have more material. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and measure the 8.5 on top and the bottom. So I'm going to go grab my ruler, grab my pen, 8.5, do a little mark there, here, 8.5. I'm going to go ahead, line this up, and with my X-Acto knife, cut. And this is just scrap. And from here, you could decide which side you like your cover to be. So I'm going to go with the clouds. Go ahead, fold this in half. Grab the bone folder. Okay. So next we will grab our paper stack and center it onto the cover. If you close it and you notice it's a little too bulky, you can go ahead and remove some of the paper. You can also go ahead and just cut the excess off of that. And once you're okay with it, so now I like to just eyeball where I'm going to put my holes. You could use a ruler to do it more precisely, but go ahead and grab your marker or your writing utensil and just mark where you want the center to be, the top and the bottom. Now you will be using your safety pin. And we're going to use this side to make our holes. So I'm going to start in the center. And I'm just going to make sure it pokes through. And there it is. I'm going to do it in the bottom. And then the top. Okay. Next, we will grab our thread. And I like to measure how much I need by the number of holes plus 1. So since there are 3 holes, I'm going to go ahead and measure 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then with some scissors, cut the excess And then you're going to grab your needle. You're going to thread your needle and center it. Once you have it centered, go ahead and make a knot at the ends. Make sure it is very tight. And then cut the excess off. Okay, so we will start binding in the center from the inside of the sketchbook. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and thread our needle. Where your knot lies right in the center. Then from the outside, we're going to thread it through that hole. And you want to make sure it's all lined up. I've lost it here. And if you do lose your hole, just go ahead and find them. There we go. Make sure that these are tight in the back. And then you're going to insert your needle on the bottom. And then from the cover, again, we're going to insert it through the center. Make sure it's tight. I'm going to move my needle to the side here, grab my scissors, and cut the thread. Remove my needle and make my last knot. And then just cut the excess off. And there you go. You just made your sketchbook. Thank you so much for joining me and hope you've enjoyed making today. Please let us know if you'd enjoyed this video and show us what you've made.